Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. Now, guys, Immortal is one of the biggest companies we work with, and this is a guy who him and I have gone back and forth at shows now, and he is your current ICW Northeast champion. He is your 2023 most hated wrestler, the one, the only, Shayne Stetson.
How we doing, John?
What's going on?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is one interview I've been wanting for the longest time.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, and now it's finally happening.
But I guess let's get before we get into with the wrestling stuff. Would you like to explain to everybody why you call me a schmuck every time you see me?
I'm actually surprised I just didn't say it. Yeah, I'll tell everyone why I call you a schmuck, John. No problem. So I forgot what show it was. But John was doing the podcast for Immortal. He was advertising everything, and he called me Shayne or Steven Stetson, and I'm like, what? Like blown away because I know there's another wrestler named Steven Stetson, and I'm like, what the hell? Basically, I think he's also from where you're from too, so maybe that makes sense why you called me Shayne or Steven. But anyway, so I was a little heated at John, and I told Mike King, I was like, I'm gonna whoever is this guy gonna be at, I think we're at the Nexus Center, wasn't it? We were at the Nexus Center? Yeah. I'm like, is this guy gonna be at the Nexus Center? He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a couple words with him. And I met Ryan that day, the ring announcer, and he goes, hey, this is the guy that called you Steven. And I'm like, oh, really? So I started talking to him, and he goes, you can just call him a schmuck. And from that point on, John was his nickname was Schmuck. I don't call him John anymore. At shows, not John, Schmuck.
And the show that you're referring to was the first Cobble Skill show from last year.
Okay, so that's the one that you were. Okay, yes, yep, that's right.
Yeah, that was the one in the infamous barn with 600 people that I walked out of that. I feel like I lost 10 pounds.
Yeah, you were. Yes, that was a hot day, hot July day. Yep.
Yeah, that's an understatement to say the least. But before I want to, like I said, I want to dive into your time with Immortal. I want to, obviously you have a big match coming up this weekend.
Yep.
With One Up Wrestling. But before we get into all that,
yep,
I want to kind of let you tell your story. So I guess first question is, who is Shayne Stetson?
Well, Hot Stuff is my moniker I go by. Hot Stuff Shayne Stetson. I kind of chose that moniker after buying my first bottle of Hot Stuff. Do you know what Hot Stuff is, John? For the people that don't know, Hot Stuff is I don't know if I'm breaking kayfabe here or what, but it's like a body spray. It makes your body look all oily. It makes you look a little bit more tan, maybe a little red, because I'm white. Especially in the winter, I need the hot stuff. And I got it, and my dad, Chip Stetson, was like, we got to find you a gimmick. And I'm like, all right. And then, I told him about Hot Stuff, and he was like, Hot Stuff Shayne Stetson, what do you think? And I'm like, I like it. And from that moment on, I was like, you know what? I was thinking of all this different stuff I could do, and showing off the hot stuff with the flames and everything. So that's kind of how Hot Stuff began for me. As far as in-ring goes, well, everyone knows I'm a second generation wrestler. So I would say, not to be cocky or anything, but I'm a little above my generation, so I have all the tricks up my sleeve from being around wrestling. So I'm sly. I try to be methodical in the ring. My ring presence. I try to, from being around wrestling for a long time, you pick up a lot of tricks. So I'm very methodical, very smart, in-ring presence, and just the way I act in ring. I'm cocky. I'm a prick. People hate me. That's really all that's to it.
which is a funny thing because you don't see that a lot now in pro wrestling or even the indies.
Yeah.
And I was telling this to you before we went live. Realistically, especially in the New York wrestling scene,
Mm-hmm.
more precisely upstate New York, there's 3 heels that come to mind: Ben Hameen, Blaze Haram, and yourself. Because I've seen it now at every show, every Immortal show that I've been to.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear that music hit, which by the way, I actually have that music on my playlist.
Oh, you like it?
It's very good.
Thank you.
And as soon as you come out, the boos literally as soon as you you don't even have to be a foot out of the gate, out of the behind the curtain.
Yeah.
As soon as that music hits, all of a sudden it's shower curtain,
Yeah.
Shayne Stetson. It's like you get so much heat.
Yeah. It's really I love it. I'm a heat seeker, so like people are gonna say stuff. I love going after it. I was kind of brought up that way. Like you need to get heat. That's one of the most important things, especially if you're wrestling. It. That's what I was always told. So as soon as I go out to that curtain, I take my time out there. I make sure I soak it all in. I make sure I can get as much heat as I possibly can. But like you said, yeah, I've noticed at the last couple shows, my music hits, and as soon as I walk through the curtain, you get the boos, you get the FU Stetson, you get I'm sorry, I don't know if I didn't really swear.
You can curse.
You get shower curtain, which I didn't wear the shower curtain last show, but I still got the chance for some stupid reason. So.
But it's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
When you come out, you can be doing a simple promo like you did to open the show.
Yeah.
Or you're in the main event.
Yep.
And mind you, this is a funny thing. Normally, when you're the hometown boy, normally you get cheered like it's nothing. I mean, great example. Look at MJF when AEW came to Long Island a couple of years ago for the first time.
Yeah.
He got cheered big time. I'm like, but the fact that you got booed, it shows how well you've done as a heel.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's something that when I was there, obviously, I mean, a lot of people know I was one of the camera guys, so I kind of had a very up close view of everything. But I guess being there, I never really pictured the heat.
Yep.
And as soon as your music hit, and I'm standing there, and I'm seeing all these people, and it was probably 500 in that crowd, I would think.
There was a lot of people there the other night.
And I'm sitting there, I'm going, holy crap, this guy is a freaking heat seeker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hysterical just to see it in action. And the fact that, I mean, obviously, you won the Northeast title.
Yeah.
Was that in Utica or was that in Cobleskill?
I won it in Cobleskill. So that's actually very close to Duanesburg. When I want to go back for 1 second. When you said I came out and I got booed, they cheered me, and then I instantly turned on them, and that's what even I think caused even more heat. Because I was kind of making it, hyping it up like I'm a good guy. This is my hometown, this is my country, and then eventually I was able to turn on them, and that's when the crowd went crazy on me.
But that you did that, and you did a very good job with that, and that's you don't see that a lot, especially in your hometown.
Yeah.
I figured they would have been cheering you, but all of a sudden you came out. You're right. They did cheer you for like maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I don't remember what you said, and then all of a sudden the boos just came like that.
Yeah. I told him I was leaving. The best thing I did was leave this hillbilly town, this hillbilly crap town. I call them all white garbage or something like that. So, and that's when everything turned. I didn't think I was going to be able to even finish my promo just because I didn't even really get a chance to talk.
No, I think the thing is, because it's you, and because you've become so much of a prick when you're in the ring, Shayne Stetson in the ring, It's almost like, and this is a weird comparison how I'm going to put this, but hopefully you'll get where I'm going with this. When you see Dirty Dom right now in
Yep.
WWE,
Yes.
and he can't even cut a full promo because he's getting booed continuously. That's what you're becoming now.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah. Other people have said that too, which is so funny you say it too.
It's weird to think because it's like, you sit there and like I said before, you're in your hometown.
Yep.
And but what's funny is they were booing you, I think, worse than Utica, than Cobleskill, than Westmoreland.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made it even more intriguing.
Yes. Even honestly, or when I'm in Cobleskill, I get cheered. Like for the what was it? The Halloween Havoc show, which was in October. I watch back the footage and stuff. It seems like I get cheered half the time. The only time I got booed was when I cashed in on Jorah, I think. So they were like cheering for me the whole time to win the King's Ransom. And then, I won it. I got, I kind of got cheered and then kind of also booed at the same time. And then I cashed in on Jorah, and that's when the boos came. So
yes, the King's Ransom, not ladder match.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I know. I wish it was a ladder match. It would actually be kind of fun.
Well, I mean, we're talking about that match. The one thing I will say, other than your performance, the other one that kind of surprised me was Trevor Terry.
Yeah. Yep.
He really there. I mean, you being a wrestling fan for a while, you would know this very well. There's the old saying of going over and getting over.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously went over in the match.
Yeah.
He got himself over. And I've said this also, like I said before, you're one of the bigger heels in Immortal.
Yep.
But between yourself, Trevor, the future of Immortal, is in very good shape.
Yeah, I want to, put Trevor over for a second because he's kind of one of my close friends in this wrestling business. And I would love to actually have like a one-on-one match with him because everything in that match clicked with him and I. Like the crowd was behind him. And like we had our last little segment him and I had. It was like I did something, they booed me, they yayed him. It was so back and forth that they were like into it. They were hooked. So I would love to see what it would be like if I got to fight Trevor one-on-one.
Honestly, I wouldn't be. That would be a very good match because, and we saw it a lot in that King's Ransom match.
Yeah,
it was the perfect mixture of good guy, bad guy type of thing.
Yeah,
where you said it before perfectly. You had anything he did, yay, yay, yay. Anything you did, boo. It was like,
right.
It's like Mike just basically sat there and said, "Here, I'm not even going to write this for you guys. Just go out there."
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And that's what we did, and it was great. Fans ate it up, so that was great.
But the funny thing is, like I said, actually, we're talking about. Let's go back. Let's go back for a second. The first couple show.
Okay.
When you made that initial heel turn.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that your call to make, or how did that whole come to fruition?
I think my dad, honestly, he was ready to be on his way out. So it was kind of like, and they were honestly going to have him turn on me, I think. And then, have me keep me baby because at the time I was freaking killing it. Like the crowd was behind me. They loved me as a baby face. It'd be another reason why I'm so over as a heel now. Because, once a big baby turns to a heel, I feel like, the crowd is just even more behind it. Just, looking at, some of like the higher up people, on WWE when Rock turned, just kind of like, I feel like once you're a baby for so long and you make that heel turn, you're just even more hated. So I kind of was, I worked heel before up in Rochester, Excite a couple times, and I honestly love heel. I always say it's way easier to get the fans to hate you than get them behind you. So that's why I love being a heel, and I think I'm just way better at it, honestly. So I made the pitch, and I'm like, I'd rather turn on him, have me be the heel, have him be the baby, and they were kind of like, I don't think they were fully on board with it. They're like, you look too much like a baby face. And, I had a couple people like, no, trust me, Shayne is, way better as a heel. I had a couple people back me up, and we did it. And boom, I was, like you saw, after I turned on my dad in November, I came back in February, and people hated me for sure. We won the holy shit moment of the year, and I came out for my award, and I got booed out of that gym basically.
Yeah, and I remember sitting here on this. I remember sitting here on this podcast right after that first Cobblesteel show,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember sitting here saying the match that you had with your dad,
Yeah,
was probably one of the best matches I've seen.
the dog collar.
Yeah, the dog collar match. Yeah,
yeah,
because that match. I mean, the one thing also with the dog collar match, and I give both you guys credit for this, big time,
mm-hmm.
is you guys both bled in that match.
Yeah.
Which you don't see a lot.
No.
And
I don't know how happy Mike King was about that, but it happens.
But you know what's funny? It was like I'm a proponent of, if it fits the story,
yes,
you go for it.
Right.
Like I'm not like, I know, I'm not so big in the what. Okay, I'll put it this way, because I'm very big in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest go-to.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing I gripe about every week on this podcast for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And with you, especially when you had, the match with your dad, then you had the matches with Dango and Giorgio. There was a story there without there really being a story, and that's the one thing I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed also, if like going back to the whole thing with the blood for a second, it fit the story.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was you trying to come out of the shadow of your dad.
Mm-hmm.
This was your dad's last go around.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, it wasn't just a simple, punch, punch, kick, kick. No.
Right.
You guys told the story. Like I said before, you were trying to come out of the shadows of your dad, and it told the story. And to me, that's when, blood, I think, would work. Be realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Mind you, a lot of stuff is, I look at it as, I've been a fan of this crazy sport now. God, going on 10 plus years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also, talking to a lot of the wrestlers, really seeing the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm like going back to when you won the King's Ransom.
Okay.
And I don't remember what happened. Yeah, Giorgio took on, who did he take on?
Valor.
Was that Valor?
Yes.
And all of a sudden I heard your music being played
towards
the end of the match. And I was sitting with Billy. I think I was sitting behind, and I looked at her and I said, he's cashing in. He's cashing in. And then also you did the cash, and we looked at each other. We're like, we watch way too much, because it's true.
Yeah.
Once that music hit, it wasn't like you were coming out there to take a seat to watch the match to get a front row view.
Right. Right.
And I was sitting there going, he's going to cash in. He's going to cash in.
That was an awesome moment for me too, because Cobblesteel, like I said, it's very close to Duanesburg, so I had a lot of people there for me, a lot of family that I tried pushing to get tickets there for. So it was kind of like having getting my own hometown pop basically, which was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like having all my friends and family there and winning my first actual title, I would say, was pretty cool.
So it was almost like the moment you should have had in Duanesburg without having the moment in Duanesburg.
Yes, that's what I was kind of. Yes, exactly. It's like having a moment in your hometown. So,
but fast forward then, obviously, they made their debut in Utica. They're at Utica Nexus Center.
Yeah.
What was? I remember being there and being in awe of that place, because that felt like the Garden. But
tell me about it.
You being and I would say probably a high profile match, to say the least.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you got to the building? You're walking through it, and you're like, "Immortal's about to run here."
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought as soon as I pulled up to the building. I looked at the building outside and I'm like, wow, this place is amazing. I finally parked my car. I walk in through the back, the loading dock, which is like every time I worked for AEW, it's always like you have to come in through the loading dock area. So I'm like, and I'm reading on the text like, they put out a thing, come through the loading dock. So I go through this and I'm like, holy crap, this is literally like an actual like arena. This isn't no high school gym. This isn't no bingo hall or whatever you want to call it. This is like an actual arena. So I walk in, I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. Um, I knew prior I was wrestling Dirty Dango. I was super stoked, honestly, for it. Um, as you probably know, my family has very close ties with the late great Brody Lee, Jonathan Huber, whatever you may know him as. And Dango, Dirty Dango, was very good friends with him. So, you know, I wasn't really so much worried about wrestling Dango, even though he was a name and everything, because I was like, okay, I can probably bring that up, kind of talk about this with him. And I met Kurt too prior. He came in to Immortal a few times before that actually. So I met him before, so it wasn't like super. If maybe if that was his first time into Immortal, I would be a little bit more nervous. But I knew I met him. He's seen my face. I've seen him, so nothing was um gonna be like it wasn't gonna like sneak up on me basically. So that I knew I was wrestling him. I had a great match with him. He was super easy to work with. Um, super cool. Uh, let me do a lot of stuff. And, I let him, I was cool with him on whatever he wanted to do, obviously, because he's the name. I wasn't going to, I'm not like that. But man, after that night, I learned a lot from him. And from that moment on, I would say is kind of when, not that I got a big push, but I'm just saying like that's when I started working a lot more like a lot more names basically. Like you said, I wrestled Jorah, so it was like I wrestled Dango, and then I wrestled Jorah in September, and then I had a little I had the King's Ransom in October, cashed in on Jorah, had a little sequence with him, so I went into like a 3-month feud with Jorah, and learned a lot from him too. So Dango was kind of the start of working better names, basically.
And
Coming back, got to wrestle with James Storm, and then you already said it. In my hometown, he got to wrestle Breezango. Like Immortal has been giving me the best. I am super thankful for it. Um, it's been great opportunities. I'm super thankful. Um, you can't say enough nice things about Immortal and what they have given and done for me.
no, absolutely. I totally agree with everything you're saying. I want to just go back for a second here. You're talking about that your family was good friends with the late great Brody Lee,
Yep.
Jonathan Huber.
Yep.
Any memories that you have of him that you like to share?
So I flew down there. I want to say it was shortly after. Maybe it wasn't shortly after. Okay. I know it was shortly before he debuted in AEW. He just got he asked for his release from WWE. And he didn't say anything to me, but I flew down there. I got to spend a couple days with his wife and him and his kids. And I got to hang out with the little Brody -1. He's like my little brother. Him and I are very close. And I got to work out with John Brody. That was probably one of the coolest things, just being able to like peck his brain on the car ride to the gym and like working out with him. I still have his workout in my phone because, like, once after we did everything, I'm like, this is actually like an awesome workout. That's one of my favorite hobbies to do. If I'm not on the road, if I'm not wrestling, I love working out. So to work out with him was amazing. I loved it. And just being around them was just we got to do. We got food. My favorite place down in Florida is I don't know I don't know if it's anywhere else besides Florida. That might be, but it's called Culver Burger, and John loves that place too. So I remember after our workout, we went and got some burgers and fries from this place. It was amazing. We both love it. So I can't say enough nice things about John. He was one of a kind for sure. We miss him.
Oh, I will say this much. Probably one of the most underrated wrestlers
Yes.
out there.
Yeah, he got to really show who he was in AEW.
I mean, I remember when he was in WWE,
Yeah.
under the name of Luke Harper, and he would always come in the wife beater tank top.
Yeah.
And I remember one year for Halloween, I remember it must have been right when I think they were feuding with the Shield. I think was when it. I actually tried one year to dress up like him for Halloween.
The Brody?
Yeah, with
That's
the wife
awesome.
beater shirt, the jeans.
That's awesome.
And then I also realized it's October and it's like New York and yeah, not going to work out well for me.
That's hilarious. You have a picture of that? You got to send that to me.
I got to see if I can find a picture of it. But I remember, but I mean, I'll say this much. I feel like with him in WWE, he was so wrapped in with the Wyatt family, they never let him really go on his own. Because if you remember, he was on his own for feels like a month.
Yeah.
Before he got his release was great because I remember the biggest thing I remember from him with his singles run was when he had the IC title match with Dolph, or now known as Nick Nemeth.
Yep.
And he won. And I remember sitting there going, "This is," and that goes back with him. That goes back to he's a big guy but can move like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, that's how he always has been. Even from when I was little and watching him on the Indies, he was always like this big guy that wanted to do little man things, which is funny. I remember a lot of guys busting his chops for it and stuff too. But he could go. He could move.
Oh yeah, no, and I hope maybe not this year, but I'm hoping at some point he gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm hoping too. He deserves it. 110%.
Like that, I totally agree on. But I want to keep things moving here because
yeah.
Now in your run with Immortal,
yep.
What is your favorite moment?
Oh, my favorite moment. I'm gonna say I want to say winning. That's tough because I want to break kayfabe for a little bit. Obviously, I ended my dad's career, but ever since I was little, we always talked about like being a tag team and winning tag team gold whatever promotion that was going to be. So for that to happen, and when him and I won tag team gold, that was in Schenectady, which is also very close to Duanesburg. It's the same distance probably as Colbskill. So winning tag team gold with him, I would have to put that up there. But as far as single competition goes, winning, the ICW title, the Northeast title was that had to been up there too. I don't know if I can pick whatever, which one.
No, I definitely. When I asked that question, I kind of figured back in my head. I'm like, you're gonna, and I would do the same thing if I had the opportunity to say I worked with my dad, in a wrestling environment, so to speak. I would definitely say that. But want to look ahead here for a second because it was announced your next opponent for the show in Rome.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I saw it.
I actually have the graphic right here.
Yeah, there he is. Yep.
So, what's your thoughts on it? And by the way, Pat Sawyer almost took out a cameraman at the last show. Just saying.
Was that you, John? He almost took you out?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know what? Pat Sawyer, he's a big boy. I'm going to have to bring everything I got. He's been on a streak lately in Immortal. I can't tell you the last time that guy lost.
It's been a long time.
It has been, I want to say, yeah, I want to probably say it's probably been like since the summer. Like I don't know the last time he lost. He's been on a streak. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one. The only thing I have to say is he ain't hot stuff. And like I said, I've been around pro wrestling for a long time. He might have been around too. I think he's been around this business for a long time too. But I always have tricks up my sleeve. With Seabass next, in my corner, Sebastian Braun, the good-looking god. Who knows? Maybe I'll find another member to, introduce to Hot Stuff Enterprises that night. I always have tricks up my sleeve, so whatever I have to do to win, it's gonna happen. And I don't think I'm ready to let go of the ICW Northeast title yet.
No, honestly, if it's me and to steal the line, if I had the pencil,
yeah,
I would let you go on a run with it for as long as possible.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm not just saying it because you're on with us right now. I'm just saying that in general because I think, especially, and you said it perfectly, going back to the show in Utica when you took on Dango, from there till now.
Yep.
I mean, you want to talk about Pat Sawyer being on a run? You've been on a run as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Absolutely.
And realistically, I would almost make it on an equivalent to MJF with his world title run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's almost like because you're such a good heel, whoever does eventually take that belt off of you is going to have to be a strong babyface.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so, that's especially independent wrestling, that's what makes it so interesting, is that could be anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But realistically, like I said, with you, I think they haven't even I don't think you've reached your peak yet with this belt.
And and the thing is too, I really haven't defended it much. I mean, think about it. February, I was in a tag team match. Didn't have to defend it. And then this past show, I was in another tag team match. So the last time I defended my title was in November.
Yeah, and wasn't that the lumberjack match?
It was the lumberjack match. Yep.
Oh no, I definitely remember that one.
And that's when we introduced Seabass to my crew.
But okay, you bring up Sebastian Braun.
Yes.
When I first heard you guys working together, you guys being a tag team.
Yeah.
The first equivalent that came to mind, you're gonna laugh that I'm comparing it to this, but you'll see where I'm going with this in a second.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash.
Okay. Yep.
Very similar.
Going way back a little bit. Yep. Yeah, we're going back a little bit. But you're right, though. You're right.
I know a lot of people who are watching this, especially younger fans, are going to sit there and go, Shawn Michaels, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids, if you're watching this, there's a nice invention called Google.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels is the man. He's actually my favorite wrestler of all time.
But with the dynamic you two have,
yes,
it comes up to me like Shawn and Kevin.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, going back to the Duanesburg show for a second, only thing I remember from that when you guys came out for the actual match itself, was they kept telling me, keep it in between the ropes. I had to make sure the camera shot was in between the ropes. And I'm not the tallest guy, obviously, as you've known.
Yeah.
So also I'm looking, I have the camera up and I can see it on the little screen what everybody's seeing on the stream.
Yep.
And maybe just because of the way the camera was positioned for a second.
Okay.
I had a shot of Sebastian Braun's crotch.
Oh man, John, what are you? I know your birthday's coming up, but
Yep, next week.
Yeah. So you're trying to get a little. I know. I gotta say this too. I know we talked about it before, but I want to let all the viewers know. I did ask John. Actually, let me restart. For the people that don't know, John got to record. I know we've been kind of talking about it, but he got to record at this last show at Immortal, and a couple weeks prior, I'm pretty sure Ryan was saying something about your birthday was coming up and you were going to be sitting front row, all excited to see the Fashion Police. So when I got to wrestle, John was on the same side as I was on the apron, and I got to go down to John and I asked John if he got a hard on because he was recording, and that was perfect that you just told me that you were recording Sebastian's crotch. So that makes even more sense.
It wasn't intentional. It was just because I'm vertically challenged.
No, that's it. Well, I watched back the stream, so you're good. I think they covered for you. They didn't get his crotch in there because I didn't see nothing.
But because I'm sitting there, and like I said, I've been to enough Immortal shows. I told you this beforehand.
Yeah.
With the exception of the first 2 Westmoreland shows last year,
Yep.
I was at St. Johnsville. I was at Rome. I was in Cobleskill for both. I was in Utica, and then obviously the last Westmoreland show.
Yep.
I had sat front row, I think, for one. No, yeah, I think it was for one show. Was the Cobleskill show?
There you go.
Because every other show, I usually am walking around, or I'm like St. Johnsville. I was in the bleachers. I remember.
Yeah.
Or as it was at the last St. Johnsville show, I was standing behind the DJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to spot you when I go out there and wrestle. I like to find where you're at.
And sitting, just get. So when all of a sudden I got asked the opportunity to be the camera operator, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't care.
Yep.
And then I saw, that you were in the main event. I'm like, oh boy, he's gonna have way too much fun with this one.
Yep. It was perfect too. I literally turned around and you were right there with the camera. Oh, this is gonna be too easy. I was trying to make you break, but you did. I'm gonna give you the props. You did good. You didn't break. You didn't laugh. You might have chuckled a little bit, but you kept your composure. So
I appreciate that. The only thing I will say is my arms were killing me.
I bet.
Because the one thing they kept telling me was, you got to make sure your arms are like this. And all of a sudden, when after your match, you guys went back to the locker room. I'm like, okay, can we finally put this thing down? And they're like, yeah. So I went to go put it down. I'm like, oh, I can finally feel my arms again. Oh, thank God.
Oh yeah, I could not imagine. You only probably get a little bit of a break too between intermission. Like a 15-minute break probably.
Well, that I'll peel the curtain back on this one. Intermission happened. I went outside for a few minutes, and I didn't put my headset on, so nobody told me that second half had started.
Oh Jesus!
And all of a sudden, I come back in, and it was the NFW match.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the guy, the team. I forgot his name, John, and he goes, "Just wait till the next one." He goes, "Where were you?" I go, "I was outside. Nobody told me to come back in."
Yeah.
I go, "I didn't have my headset on."
Yeah.
So then after the NFW match, I don't know. I haven't got a chance to watch it back yet. But there's at one point where you see me coming down the entrance to grab the camera because I was like, yeah, I gotta get back to what I'm doing.
Well, at least you got a little bit of a break, so you're good, I guess.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. But obviously, looking ahead, we talked about the Rome show. Mm-hmm. But before we get to the Rome show, you actually have another event coming up this weekend.
Yes. Yeah, I do. This Saturday is One Up Wrestling as I take on Ichiban #1.
So let me ask you this: we're a couple of days out from the show. Yep. What are your thoughts going into it?
Well, I am no, I know all about Ichiban. I know all his accomplishments. He's a great wrestler. I mean, he's like the king of the Northeast right now. Signed to MLW. He's exactly what he says he is. He's #1. He's a great wrestler. I actually remember watching him wrestle Garrett Holiday at Immortal. He's an incredible athlete, super fast. He's a great wrestler. So just like in Rome and I have to face Pat Sawyer. It's going to be another tough fight for me. But the thing is, Ichiban, he ain't hot stuff. And, he has to wear a mask. So the thing is, he must not be that hot underneath. So I don't, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Honestly, I'm excited for it. By the end of the night, I'm walking out the winner. There's no questions about it. I'm gonna prove to everybody at One Up Wrestling exactly who I am. I came off a loss against Mike Skyrose last show for the debut of One Up. So I'm ready. I'm pretty much ready to get my redemption and make a name for myself in One Up Wrestling. And that starts this Saturday against Ichiban.
And I think tickets are still available for the show. If you search One Up Wrestling on Facebook, you can get all the information there.
Yep.
One more thing, going back to Immortal for a second.
Okay.
And then I got one more question after that.
Okay.
We were talking a lot about the Utica show.
Yeah, the Rome.
And
Rome.
the next Utica show is coming up July 13th.
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on the big announcement that they made, because I actually have the graphic right here of who's going to be appearing. Now, if Mike, if you're listening to this, you've booked Shayne in every big name. If this announcement is in a match, book him against this guy.
Who we got? Oh man. I saw that post and I was like, holy crap. I think they said he's only been wrestled in New York, is it 3 times? It's not a lot. Is it 3 times?
Maybe 3. Last time I remember him being in New York was when AEW did a Grand Slam.
Yeah, it really hasn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's only wrestled in New York a couple times. I know who he's wrestling. I'm not going to break kayfabe. But I can tell you it's not me, so you don't got to worry about me. Oh. But thank God, because have you seen that guy chop?
Yes, I have.
I mean, everyone would probably be cheering their butts off. Immortal fans will probably be cheering for me to get my butt kicked. But, he is no joke. He's tough. He's a tough wrestler. He's great. He's one of the best, Japanese wrestlers out there.
I will say this much.
And whoever gets the opportunity to wrestle him, they're in for a fight, but it's also a great opportunity to be in.
It's going to be great. I think they said in his 35 years of wrestling, which I didn't think, but he's wrestled for 35 years already.
Yeah.
He, when he does come to the States, it's very rare.
Yeah.
And I think also, I could be wrong on this, but I think he's coming just for the Immortal show.
I think so, yeah.
Because normally a lot of times when this happens, normally like MLW is running in the same town, or TNA is running.
Yeah.
But unless I'm not.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the schedule for both those companies, because those are the 2 companies I would think of.
Yeah.
Neither of them are running.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Mike King just got a super great deal on him to bring him. If you are a fan of New Japan Wrestling, you don't want to miss that. I'm pretty sure he's coming to the Nexus Center, right? Is that where he's going to be at? Yep, in July. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great show. Just like, like we talked about earlier, the Nexus Center is the place to be. We did pretty good there last time, so this time should be even better.
Not to break kayfabe on my end. I know I'm not a wrestler, but there might be something special I might be doing with this podcast prior to that show.
Oh, really? Well, we don't want
to I'll explain to you. I'll explain to you off air.
Okay.
Shayne, but yeah. But last 2 questions I got for you.
Okay.
What's the future for Shayne Stetson, either in Immortal or in independent wrestling as a whole?
Yeah, so I everyone's, if you're a pro wrestler, anyone's dream is to make it big time. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. I'm trying to get to the very top. Um, you know, like I said, my dad's been around for a long time. So when you've been around, you make a lot of connections with people. So I have, not to break kayfabe again, even though that's just off of Immortal. Um, my dad has been a huge advocate for me, with, helping me get to where I want to be. Um, and, not just him, but everyone too that has been around. But I hope one day. I think I have my eyes set on NXT. I'm pretty sure I want to make it to NXT and WWE. That's where I want to be. I've done some dark stuff for AEW. Um, I jobbed out and did the job and everything. Um, AEW was great too, but I think I think NXT is where I will exceed and learn more and just get better. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep getting as many reps as I can, traveling the North Way, getting out wherever I can be, and just getting those reps in. Keep working out, trying to get big, and hopefully one day I'll get the call or something, like everyone's dream is. But you gotta put in the work to get there. It just doesn't come.
I
So
I
that's
totally agree with you on that.
yep.
Last question is it's kind of a two-parter.
Okay.
First part is, are there what other promotions either in the Northeast? I'm not saying more like WWE or AEW. I'm saying more like independent level stuff.
Okay. Yep.
What promotion that you've never worked with that you have your eyes set on possibly working with? And the part two to that question is, who is a dream opponent of yours on the independent level?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. So uh I'm gonna say for New York State, I don't really follow. I know there's a lot of promotions down in Jersey. Um, but as far as New York State goes, I wrestled for this promotion once, and I would love to just keep going back there just because it's amazing there. That promotion's called ESW, Empire State Wrestling. I'm actually booked to go back in April. Um, but as far as wanting to keep going back and be a regular there, I would have to say ESW. Um, and as far as a dream opponent on the Indies, oh, you might have got me there, John. I'm trying to. There's so many people I could say. It just depends on. Yeah, can I name off a few?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. So one is Sean Carr. Sean Carr is a tremendous wrestler. Um, I got to wrestle him in a tag team match, but I would love to wrestle him some more, as in like a singles. Garrett Holiday. Um, there's so many, honestly. I could go on. Colin Delaney. I would love to wrestle him 1-on-1. Big time Bill Collier. Let's see. Cloudy. He's I've known him since I was little. A lot of the guys I'm naming are guys I've known since I was little. So to wrestle them, it would just kind of be, surreal for me. As far as talent, my skill level, I would say, I said Trevor Terry earlier. I would love to have a match with TJ Epics 1-on-1. I had a match with Chael Connors when I was maybe only 2 years in. I would love to run it back with Chael. A lot of my friends that are around my age, I would love to wrestle, just because I think we could do, put on a banger and kill it.
For one for me that I would say to really that I think personally would put you to the test.
Yep.
and this is more of a Jersey guy, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Danny Moff.
Who is it?
Danny Moff.
Moff sounds familiar. I really need to start watching more Jersey wrestling, like following more of more all around independent wrestling. Or watch more of the independent scene, I should say.
Because I know for a fact with him, I'm trying to think of, I don't even think I can even equate him to anybody on the Immortal roster.
Yep.
He's, God, probably 6'4". But
man.
Okay, I'll put it this way. It's like Taz almost.
Okay.
But just a little bit bigger.
Wow. Okay. Dang.
Yeah, that's probably the best way I can equate it.
All right.
But no, honestly, I'm going to say this right now. I know you love always calling me schmuck. But the one thing I will say is I put you over every time I can on the show.
I appreciate it, John.
And the future is very bright for you.
Thank you.
And, hopefully we can definitely have, let me rephrase that. The door is always open for you to come back on.
Thank you.
And before we let you go, what else do you have coming up that you like to promote, and where can the fans connect with you on social media?
Okay, yeah. So my April is starting to fill up. Like I said, we already have one up this weekend, this Saturday. I take on Ichiban there. And then April is, that's when I start back up with it, starting off with Immortal Championship Wrestling, the 13th. Mall Mania for UPW. I'm the heavyweight champion there at UPW. We have that April 19th. It's a Friday. I think it's at the Grease Mall. Come back. I don't know if they've released the date yet, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead. But 420 One Up Wrestling comes back. I'm sure there's going to be more updates on that soon after this show this Saturday. And then April 27th is ESW.
Well, Shayne.
So and then for people that can, where you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, Shayne Stetson. And then Facebook, I don't have a personal account for my wrestling stuff. So I just have Shayne Shafalo, and I post all my wrestling stuff on there.
Well, Shayne, like I said, it was a blast having you on tonight. I appreciate it a lot.
No problem.
I'm glad we were able to finally make this happen.
Yeah, me too.
And honestly, I can't wait for the show in Rome. Fortunately, I won't be able to come to the One Up show because I'll be actually at Blitzkrieg Friday night, so I'll be kind of exhausted.
I got you. No worries. I'll see you in Rome then.
Yep, I'll definitely see you in Rome. But guys, for Shayne Stetson, current ICW Northeast champion, your 2023 most hated wrestler of the year.
Yep.
I'm John. This has been a YouTube exclusive for the Around the Ropes podcast. Catch you guys next time.